Morning, everybody, and welcome to the October 22nd, 2019 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are really glad you're with us today. We will begin, as we always do, with an invocation, and Pastor Tim Hobbs of Community Baptist Church is here to lead us in prayer. Please stand.
Let us pray together. Oh God, for the blessings of many good things in our lives, we give you thanks. For the blessings of food and shelter and community and laughter, we give you thanks. At the same time, we are mindful of those who are in need of food and shelter and community and joy. Direct us, O Lord, to be a help to our brothers and sisters as we can. For these servants of our community gathered here this morning, we give you thanks. We thank you for their devotion to our great city and county and their desire to make Henderson an even better place to live. And we pray for your continued blessings on them as they seek to carry out their mission. Give them a spirit of wisdom and direction, O God, and grant unto them the courage to do what is truly just and compassionate. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you, Tim. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Master Southard. Here. Master Moran.
Here.
Master Putman.
Here.
Master McCollum.
Here.
Master Berry.
Here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have before you the minutes of the October 1st, 2019 Fiscal Court meeting. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to accept those.
I move that we accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other corrections, clarifications, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Thank you. This is a Judges Scholar Day, and we are very proud to have with us Ms. Abigail White from Bengate Elementary School, who is this month's Judges Scholar. And I'd like her to join me right up here. We're going to read a special proclamation.
Abigail White has been chosen by Bengate Elementary School to be the recipient of the Judges Scholar Award because she made a choice to accept changes that would benefit her education and well-being. And whereas change is not easy, however, Abigail's ability to embrace change has led to growth that will only further her successes in life. And whereas success is measured in many different ways, whether it be passing a test, scoring the winning point, achieving a particular goal, or taking the necessary steps for overall improvement, and whereas the Henderson County school system could not let Abigail's efforts go unnoticed, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court supports the school system and acknowledges these changes as being significant because students such as Abigail White will be our future leaders. And now, therefore, I, Brad Schneider, County Judge Executive Henderson, join with the Henderson County Fiscal Court to proclaim October 22nd, 2019 as Abigail White Day.
Congratulations, Abigail. Congratulations to the White family. I know you're very proud. And now she gets to sit up here and keep Steve Gold in line, which is no easy job. But
That's a
I'm
tough
sure
job.
Abigail will make it happen. So here we go. Are you ready? All right, always good to have a co-pilot. This is Diabetes Awareness Month, and we have both a proclamation and some information about diabetes in Kentucky. It certainly is a problem in our state. And if Bill Hubiak would help me by briefly putting the podium back in front of me, I'd appreciate it, Bill. You were just handy. Sorry about that. I'm going to have the clerk read the proclamation, and then maybe a representative of our district health department give us a little bit more information. So, Mr. Clerk.
Proclamation from Henderson County Judge Executive Brad Schneider. Whereas more than 30.3 million Americans, including over 442,000 Kentuckians, 12.9% of the adults, have diabetes, which makes Kentucky the seventh highest in the United States for the prevalence of diabetes, a serious disease that has no cure. An additional 147,500 adult Kentuckians are estimated to be living with an undiagnosed diabetes. And whereas an estimated 23.1 million Americans have been diagnosed with diabetes, and another 7.2 million people nationwide are unaware that they have the disease, and 84.1 million Americans, including 1.1 million in Kentucky, are estimated to have prediabetes, a condition that puts people at increased risk for diabetes. And whereas diabetes costs Kentucky over $5 billion in total medical costs, lost work, and lost wages each year, and whereas diabetes is the seventh leading cause of death in the United States, and whereas Kentucky has the fourth highest diabetes mortality rate in the nation, and is associated with complications that threaten both length and quality of life, such as blindness, heart disease, kidney failure, stroke, and leg or foot amputations. Whereas an increase in community awareness of risk factors and symptoms related to diabetes can improve the likelihood that people with diabetes will get the attention they need before developing the disease and its devastating complications. Now, therefore, I, Brad Schneider, Judge Executive of Henderson County, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, November 14, 2019, as Diabetes Awareness Day in Henderson County, Kentucky, and urge all citizens to help fight this disease and its life-threatening complications by increasing awareness of the risk factors for diabetes, making healthy lifestyle choices, and providing care and treatment for those suffering with diabetes.
And normally we'd applaud a proclamation, but I don't think it's actually appropriate to applaud diabetes awareness. It is something that's important, and I know in our case we're going to be talking about our health insurance program here in a moment. We have made a focus here at the county of helping our employees reduce their diabetic symptoms and prevalence of diabetes because it is such a scourge in our state and our county. And if a representative from the District Health Department would like to expound on all that.
Thank you. I'm representing the Green River District Health Department as well as the Henderson County Diabetes Coalition today. And you have the numbers in front of you, the 2019 Kentucky Diabetes Fact Sheet. And for Kentucky, it's not pretty, unfortunately. But there is good news. Our numbers for diagnosed diabetes and for diagnosed prediabetes did come down a little bit. We're still, for diagnosed diabetes, Green River area, which is a 7-county area, is at 13.7%. And our diagnosed prediabetes is at 8.8%. As far as Henderson County, diagnosed diabetes, we're at 13.7%, which is the second highest in the district. So we do have work to do. The Henderson County Diabetes Coalition works all year long on educational projects, trying to get those numbers down. And I am pleased to report that on November the 14th, which is World Diabetes Day, we will be partnering with Prevention and Wellness Services with Methodist Health. And we will be doing free hemoglobin A1C screenings, and that tells an average of your blood sugar over the last 3 months. It's a free test, which normally it's over $50. So We're happy to be able to do that. We will do the test. It takes 5 minutes. You do not have to fast. If your numbers are elevated, you immediately get sent down to the hall to talk to me or one of the other healthcare professionals so we can guide you in the direction you need to go to hopefully keep that from developing into full-blown diabetes. That will be November the 14th at Prevention and Wellness Services from 9 to 5. Last year, on that in the same month, we screened over 145 people, so it's a busy day. And we're blessed that Methodist Health will partner with us on doing that at no cost. So we thank you for the proclamation. The whole month of November is Diabetes Awareness Month, so you'll be hearing radio ads and everything as far as the screening. So we hope to get the word out. Thank you.
Thank you, and compliments to the Henderson County Diabetes Coalition. I know you do great work for our community. Next up, Charles Johnson is back, Executive Director of the Human Rights Commission, giving us a quick update. Yes?
Yes, sir. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone.
Good
You
morning.
should have your report, my report, in front of you. Apologize, Kurt, for getting that to you so late. But stood before this court here last month in my introduction to this position, saying that one of the things I like to do is come before the Fiscal Court City Commission on a quarterly basis, provide you update from the Human Rights Office, just kind of give you a little brief synopsis of what's taking place out of the office. I'm not going to go through every single bullet line. You guys have the report yourself. Just some of the things, just highlights we want to hit on. The office is up and running. I've hit the ground running. We've now relocated out to the new Peabody building, not to the new Peabody, but the office is relocated out to the Peabody building. So we still have boxes to unpack, so feel free if you have some extra time, come on out and help us. When I say help us, I'm the executive director, I'm secretary, I'm the maintenance person, I'm the janitor, so that's why I put us in there. So feel free to come if you will visit any time. You have my intro statement. You have our purpose statement. This purpose statement was given to the board upon my starting there in September. So the same agenda that you're kind of looking at is what the board tends to look at on a monthly basis. What is our purpose here in the tri-state community? One of those purposes is to prevent and remedy issues of discrimination based on race, color, religion, national origin, gender, age, disability, and familiar status. The Commission shall cooperate with the federal, state, local agencies to develop a harmonious relationship. And that's the key there in that sentence there, is to keep a harmonious relationship in our tri-state area as we deal with any complaints that come into the office, whether those are race-related, age-related, discrimination-related, tenant-landlord issues, seeing a lot of tenant-landlord concerns that come to the office. But the objective of the local office is just try to bring resolution to that so we don't have to get that up to the state. In September, these are just some of the things that the office has done, been visible out and about in the tri-state community, recording and investigating our intake complaints. That's the important thing. 10 Safe Zone training, which focuses on the LGBTQ community, met with our city officials, met with the mayor, the judge executive office, city and finance manager, just kind of an introduction of myself. I've attended the city commission meetings. Also, I've attended the fiscal court meeting. Also, I'm on the Henderson census committee, so I've been actively involved in those meetings as well, and just being out and about in the community. One of the goals that I hope to accomplish in this role, executive director, a lot of people within the tri-state don't know that there's an office that exists. So the goal is to get out into the community. Now there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance there. I can't go every day because I do have to have office hours where they can come. But I think being in the community, getting to the various functions that I've attended, that's a positive sign, because we want to be proactive, not reactive. with the Human Rights Office. Going into October, just briefly this month, as you can see, some of the repetitious things. Attended the Henderson Envision Center's grand opening at the Housing Authority Community Resource Fair, which was a great endeavor last week at the Housing Authority, just connecting with the citizens of Henderson County. Hopefully next week I'll be going down to one of our sister cities here in the state for some training, office training. Myself, some of our surrounding cities like Bowling Green, Hopkinsville, Owensboro, they have a full staff, so I'm going to utilize that and go do some training with them to see what takes place on a day-to-day basis in the Human Rights Office. We're down to also attend the Evansville-Edinburgh Human Rights Relation dinner here next week. They always do a good job in inviting the office for their gala there at the Old National Plaza. So these are just some snippet, as my grandmother used to say, snippet of things that I've been doing since I've come on board in September. So are there any questions?
Just so you know, at the next fiscal court meeting, we'll be making our appointments, the county appointments to Reverend Johnson's board, and looking forward to doing that, another step in the process of rebooting the Human Rights Commission, and I'm really enthusiastic and eager to get them on their way, and I think great changes.
Look forward to working with them.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Next, DJ Story from Peel and Holland here to give us our annual update before we vote on renewing contracts with our health insurers. DJ, welcome.
Thank you, Judge. And magistrates, thanks for having me here today. I'll try to make this as painless as possible, talking about health insurance. So one thing I wanted to touch on, there it is. One thing I wanted to touch on related to the diabetes awareness, I hadn't planned on this, but I pulled up information regarding the court's plan, and just to reemphasize how much of an issue it is, not only in the state but locally, of folks that are on our plan with the Henderson County Court. Nearly a quarter of the claims are coming from claimants that are affected by diabetes. So there's a huge, not just diabetes-related claims, but just those individuals that are affected by it, because it can obviously lead to other conditions that can be harmful to their health. So it's important to keep that in the forefront, and I commend you for doing so. So today we're going to talk through a brief understanding of where we're at with the claims, and then also the health insurance renewals for this year. Again, just as a reminder, I'm with Peel and Holland. We also represent CAECO Benefits Group as a whole, so we're in and around the state quite often. Just a quick financial review, talk about the 2020 renewal, and then recommendations, and I'll be out of your hair. So as far as financial review goes, this is just an overview of the finances in relation to health care costs per member per year. So when we talk about per member, we're talking about employees, spouses, and dependents, just as a reminder. The line up top tracks the overall, I pushed the wrong button. It tracks the overall membership, and then the bottom you see the claims per member per year. Okay. The obvious trend is that we've had a really good few years and fairly consistent over those years. We've had some high claimants in that time, but for the most part, the group has improved in overall health, and we'll see that reflected in this year's renewal as well. Another graphic here, and I'll just take a brief moment to explain this. The large blue column is your claims, so down here at the bottom. That's the overall claims in the plan. The red is claims that we had, but we were reimbursed by the stop-loss carrier. In this case, you have Anthem as your stop-loss carrier, and they're reimbursing claims over a certain threshold per member. So having the reimbursement is good in the single year. It's bad in the related to the insurance renewal, because they're going to want more premium in order to offset that reimbursement. Okay, so having a smaller number like this year at $42,000 so far projected for 2019 is a positive thing. Stop loss, that is what we're paying for in relation to get those reimbursements. So $289,000 this year. Projected, we were at 282 in the prior period, 286. So really consistent in those years. And then administrative costs are costs that to have Anthem administer the claims, process those, get Anthem's discount, are rolled up into that administrative cost as well. So all that. Is there any questions on that kind of brief claims explanation? All's looking good. So there's a lot of data on this sheet, but I just wanted to go through it quickly. The positive news is basically we're at a flat renewal for this year. Anthem came in with some increases, but I'll kind of explain a little bit of that. The only increase that we're actually going to be incurring for this year is a slight increase on the administrative cost, which totals about $4,000 annually, which is less than a 1% change for our overall cost that we have. We negotiated down to no increase to the stop-loss premium and no increase to what they consider expected claims costs. So they give us a number they expect us to be at, and they initially came up where they thought that would increase. After our negotiations, that came down to flat as well. With budgeting for our expected exposure for this year, that means that the renewal will come in under the healthcare budget, which is set at $2.1 million. Our expected liability for 2020 is just under 1.9. Now, that is an expected amount. If we have more claims, that can increase. That's why we've listed the maximum liability here at almost 2.3, and this doesn't include one of the factors, which is the HRA liability in that as well. I point that out to say that based on our budgeting, we're still within budget on the expected. We're having a good year, and that's a positive thing. But one of the things that's going to keep us remaining or not having to push enough cost over onto employees is what the court has been doing and the HR and Treasurer's Office have been doing in regards to budgeting appropriately for that healthcare fund. And that has, from what I talked with Brenda recently, and that is a healthy fund currently, and that's going to keep us, if this next year we have a lot of large claims come in, say we hit that maximum liability, what that means is we don't immediately have to look at disruptive changes to the employee base. So continuing to budget well and move that in the right direction is going to keep us leaving this at a flat or less than a negative cost for employees. So that's a positive thing as well.
Can I make a couple comments, DJ?
Yeah.
You'll see that the expected 1.9, the maximum 2.3. Obviously, we budgeted 2.1, splitting the difference of those. It works out that way. We also, as DJ mentioned, in the last few years with beating our budget in regards to health insurance costs for the county, have used the reserve to set up a dedicated escrow account for emergencies and years when we go over in claims, and that amount is, Brenda, well over 1.4 now?
Yes.
Yeah, 1.4 million. So, and this was on the recommendation of Peel and Holland for several years, and I'm happy to say we have established that. I think we're in good shape for unusual years, and we're going to continue to add to that fund if we need to. And I think Peel and Holland would recommend it to keep doing that because you just never know. So I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah, of course. No, I think that's exactly right. I will say, as far as negotiating is concerned, we did have one high claimant that Anthem's initial renewal was roughly about $200,000 more in their expectations from what we negotiated down to, and being able to access the data and the conversations we continue to have with HR and the Treasurer's Office is what helps us negotiate that. So that partnership really helps us get to where we need to get. So that being said, the other renewals, dental is with HRI. That is a rate hold, so there's no changes to that program or plan. Or vision is with Anthem as well, and there's no changes to that plan or program cost. So our recommendations are pretty simple. We would say we renew with where we're at. We hold the rates and make no plan changes for the 2020 year and roll that on for those employees for 2020.
And you kind of skipped over it, but with Angela Comer's help and Brenda Ryder's help, what Peel and Holland is able to do for us is to negotiate with Anthem, and by holding the line on rates, having flat year-over-year rates, it benefits our employees. Raises to employees who then get increased health insurance costs mitigate the benefit of those raises. So it's really good news, and I appreciate your work on our behalf, and I really commend.
Paula, she helps.
And Paula Wilson,
Yes.
yeah. So more data that we can give DJ to make our case, it really helps, and that comes from Angela and Paula and Brenda, so thank you very much. Any questions of DJ? This is the first time that you're going through this process with us, so please feel free to ask questions.
Not a question, but I think I'd like to, I could say a do for our employees, and they're managing their diabetes and managing their doing a better way of life and a better way of living, and we're one of the reasons we're in a better financial shape is if you look at that, that's about $500,000 a year for the last 3 years that we're down, and that's really significant money that we're saving because we're healthier and we're taking care of ourselves. And I think we need the different offices need to tell their employees and what that's doing for us and what it's for the whole county. But it's just significant, and if we want to continue to do our own health insurance program like this, we need all our participation of everybody in the county to do so.
It's very true. The accounts, the clients that we work with, the ones that are giving the message to the employees that you are a part of this, and by taking care of yourself, obviously that's the most important thing, but also it benefits everyone. There's a community aspect to this, and so there's situations where things are outside of our control and claims hit that we just don't have anything to do with. That's why we have to build up the financial piece of it. But for those that can be in control, behavioral type conditions, encouraging that positive, healthy behavior is what's going to keep this thing running the right way.
And just to tag on to Charlie, that the health savings account I think makes our employees a better consumer of the product. I think they probably do a little more shopping. I know I do. So looking for the better price all the time, which affects that bottom line too. So
certainly.
I was going to say I think two significant changes we made that really have worked, and with Angela's help, we instituted a wellness program that incentivized good habits and reinforced that constantly year after year, and that has, I think, done well, so kudos to Angela. And then the other thing, like many businesses, we unfortunately, to help maintain costs, we had to raise our deductibles. But at the same time, we instituted the HSA program, giving more employees money in an HSA for the first time to enable them to make decisions on their own about less expensive health insurance decisions or health care decisions, and I think that has worked. So we're only one bad year away from maybe not feeling so great about it, because you never know. Some of this is good luck, good fortune. Some of this is hard work. So knock on wood, we're doing well. And thanks again to our staff and to your work, DJ.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. So we have a resolution now to reauthorize our contract for health insurance, and I'll have the clerk read the resolution.
A resolution authorizing county judge executive to execute insurance contracts. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court provides various health insurance benefits to its employees through a self-funded insurance plan. Whereas Peel & Holland is a health insurance broker that provides benefits advisory services to the Fiscal Court. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court, in consultation with Peel & Holland, deems it in the best interest of Henderson County to enter into an administrative services only, an ASO relationship with Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated for the administration of Henderson County Employees Health Plan. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court, in consultation with Peel & Holland, has selected Health Resources Incorporated to be the provider for employee dental insurance. Now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. That the Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby authorizes and directs County Judge Executive Brad Schneider to execute the attached contracts and agreements related to the administration of employee benefits, to include Anthem SO contract and Anthem ASO standard pricing assumptions, Anthem ASO standard stop loss assumptions, Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield single case agreement addendum to broker agreement, dental health options renewal contract with HRI, Peel & Holland Benefits Advisory Agreement. Furthermore, the County Judge Executive is hereby authorized to execute any and all other necessary and appropriate documents required to effectuate the intent and terms thereof.
Judge, I've reviewed the attached agreements, and they're approved as to form and legality.
Motion to approve.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, and thanks again, DJ, for your help. Next, Tony Riddy from Kindle is here to discuss grant application for the TVA funds provided to Kindle, and it also regards again the 425 bypass property. So we begin.
Thank you, Judge and magistrates. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm Tony Riddy. I'm the CEO of Kindle. And as you know, this is the process that we go through to access the funds allocated by the state from the TVA funds that came into the state to be used locally to promote and to develop inventory within the particular counties. And so the last year we went through this and had the same project was the 425 bypass property, and we finished up the cultural resources portion of that due diligence on that property, and that's been completed. And so in looking at the potential uses of these funds, we looked at 425 bypass project again because there are a couple of holes or a couple of gaps that we're still trying to close. One of those is a gas line that needs to be extended from where it is currently to the bottom property line. Another is the electrical work that needs to be done. That can't be done until a particular customer is determined because of the usage that needs to be done. And the other was a water line that needs to be extended, water and sewer lines. And quite honestly, that was a lot more expensive than what we had funds to be able to work towards. So there's another program that's called the Product Development Initiative that is a combination of funds that were raised by the state, Kentucky, the Cabinet for Economic Development, and also the Association of Economic Developers. That this project is a matching grant project as well. So what we're looking to do is take this $100,000 that's available this year from the TVA funds, pledged it against the match for this Product Development Initiative grant, as well as we worked with the city of Henderson to put in $75,000 as a match to be able to get $175,000 from this Product Development Initiative grant, which will then allow us to extend that gas line so that we'll have one more piece closed. We'll know probably something within the next 30 days about the Product Development Initiative. We had a site visit here a couple of weeks ago, and it went very, very well. And the thanks to all of you and everyone that participated, because the site selector said that they've been doing these kinds of presentations and being a part of them, and not everybody that they tell you is going to be in the room shows up, and they may end up with one or two people. We invited 26 individuals to be there from the workforce side of the house as well as the site development side of the house, and of the 26, 25 were there. And that's just a tribute to Henderson County, and they made note of that. So what these funds will be used for is to be the matching part of the grant for that Product Development Initiative. And I don't have I can't really say anything right now, but we'll have the end goal of what we're trying to do with this 425 bypass property has been a work in progress for the last year and a half to get it certified by CSX as one of their select sites in the country because of the size of the property and with the access to rail. And we should have that designation sometime here in the very near future, and we'll definitely let you know when that will be. So that's what this is all about with the 425 bypass property. It's a 400-acre site, as you know, and with rail that comes from the river port, it goes right through it out into the main line. So
So they'll be using this to hopefully extend gas lines to 425, and one of the big challenges in any economic development property is utilities. Often, great pieces of ground look great, but if they don't have utilities, it's useless. So I'm absolutely appropriate to keep doing everything we can to bump up the utility infrastructure at that site. So, any other questions of Mr. Riddy? I'll entertain a motion. Oh, we're going to read a resolution to this effect, and hopefully we can get that ball rolling. So,
Thank you so much.
Adoption of a resolution of the Henderson County Fiscal Court authorizing the filing of a Regional Development Agency Assistance Program, RDAAP, proposal grant application for up to $103,826 in RDAAP funds with the Department for Local Government, and authorizing the designated Industrial Development Authority, Kindle, to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Whereas Henderson County desires to promote and carry out economic development efforts on behalf of the residents of Henderson County, and whereas it is recognized that the Regional Development Agency Assistance Program funds available to the county pursuant to KRS Chapter 96 and 2018 Kentucky General Assembly House Bill 200, the budget bill, impose certain obligations and responsibilities upon the county, and we require: 1, the designation of an Industrial Development Authority, IDA, established under KRS 154.50-301 to KRS 154.50-346. And number 2, approval of a satisfactory application to be transmitted to DLG for approval. Now therefore be it resolved this 22nd day of October 2019 by Henderson County Fiscal Court that a RDAAP project proposal application on behalf of the county for RDAAP monies up to $103,826 for the 425 bypass project shall be submitted to DLG. The county shall provide such additional information and furnish such documentation as may be required, and the designated IDA shall act as the authorized correspondent for this project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. You have in your packets a resolution declaring a couple vehicles as surplus equipment. They're both well beyond their useful life for us. A Ford F-250 and a Ford Escape. Any questions about that? Yes. If you don't mind, I can eschew the reading of the whole resolution and just read the summary. It's just these two pieces of equipment we're going to be
The summary
declaring.
would work for me, Judge. The summary would work.
Okay. Mr. Clerk, read the summary.
A resolution declaring certain county property to be surplus and providing for the disposition thereof.
Move to accept.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The next item in your packet, we discussed with members of the Finance Committee. If you recall, we are in the middle of updating our administrative code. One of the sections that we touched on was the threshold amount for putting formal bids in advertisements in newspapers. The state last session increased that threshold from $20,000 to $30,000, and I wanted to give our departments the most flexibility possible by going ahead and changing that now in the current code, even as we review it, to update it eventually. And you remember we talked about doing this. I thought it'd be better just to go ahead and do that part now and continue to review the administrative code and update the rest of it eventually. But with your approval, we could go ahead and make this change now and again give our departments a bit more flexibility.
And Judge, essentially what this does is it just brings the administrative code in line with the changes to the state statute.
Right. Any questions about that? Again, members of the Finance Committee, if any comment you want to make?
No, I fully support this. I think it's a great way we can save some money. Sometimes we don't need to advertise, but I don't this is not a carte blanche that we don't want to advertise, even though there may be some times that there's things within this $30,000 limit. It may be to our benefit to advertise anyway, and we may want to do that reverse bid type thing sometimes where it doesn't cost that much doing it over the internet, and it may be to our benefit to do it to advertise. But I fully support this.
Or at least do informal surveys of
Absolutely.
possible vendor
Yes,
deals
exactly.
out there, and I think a lot of our department heads do that already to try to keep their budgets in line. Any thoughts, Master?
No,
Tubman?
I agree with everything Charlie said, basically, Judge. It puts us in line, too, with what the state was recommending to start with, and it's pretty much going across the state for counties that, to raise that threshold of 30,000.
Any other thoughts on that? I'll go ahead and have Mr. Clerk read the resolution.
A resolution amending the administrative code of Henderson County. Whereas House Bill 26 was introduced and passed during the 2019 regular session of the Kentucky General Assembly and subsequently was signed into law by the governor. Whereas House Bill 26 amends KRS 424.260 to increase the amount local officials, including counties, can purchase without taking out newspaper advertisements for bids from $20,000 to $30,000. Whereas pursuant to KRS 67.710, the Henderson County Judge Executive has reviewed and recommends to amend the Administrative Code of Henderson County, hereinafter Administrative Code, to reflect the statutory amendment to KRS 424.260. Now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, Kentucky, as follows. The Administrative Code adopted June 7, 2005 is hereby amended in part by deleting $20,000 and replacing the deleted text with $30,000 in Section 4.4A and in Section 4.6A. The remaining provisions of the Administrative Code shall be unaffected by this resolution. The Fiscal Court shall cause a copy of this resolution to be attached to the Administrative Code.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That passes. All right. Debbie Edwards, Animal Control, is she with us? I think the animal control reports were for our information. I don't any actions required on those. Any thoughts or concerns that I can relay to her? I will say that they have hired a new community relations communications person, R.D. Glover Bell, and I think she's already got off to a running start, and I think that's a great move on their part, and hopefully that will result in more adoptions, give them more options when it comes to taking in animals, especially that are brought in by our by our animal control officers. So. Next, detention center reports, and we have some representatives of the detention center who might want to comment.
Morning.
Good morning.
You have the inmate trust account in front of you. The reconciliation. Is there any questions?
And these are all just bond fee proceeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I notice also in the packet is the regular statement of physical condition of the detention center with comments as well as their personnel situation. Any questions about those?
Yeah, I do have one. I'm not sure what the issue is with the kiosks, where the clerk doesn't want to sign off on that. Is there any particular reason that? Do you have any idea why that is?
The kiosk.
You're talking about bonds?
Yeah, the
Taking
bond
payments on
out so
bonds?
the inmates can bond out.
Yes, I don't.
No comment?
Yeah, no comment.
We did have, Judge Newman contacted me about some other issues. She was going to a meeting, and we talked about this, and she said she was going to talk to Herbie about it and see what they could work out. From my understanding, Herbie says it's something with AOC. I think it's just a matter of finding the right person to push the button and say this is okay. Because I think the issue is transferring the funds electronically to the jailer's account and then get a list of what it is, and somebody's got to reconcile that. Do you know any more about it, Steve, than that?
Just vaguely, Mr. McKee indicates that despite every other financial entity in 2019 wanting electronic transfers, the administrative office of the court prefers a paper check. And why on earth that's the case, goodness only knows, but at some point they'll realize that that may not be particularly the best way of doing business. However, Magistrate McCollum and I have fought many battles with the administrative office of the courts in trying to teach them the benefits of common sense, and they have yet to come to the light.
Well, it just seemed to expedite the process as holding a prisoner for additional days that you don't need to while he's waiting to bond out for something that he could do if he had.
The bonding out at the kiosk makes perfect sense.
It just seems to make perfect sense.
And it would be a benefit.
If I
for
could
the
make a
public.
suggestion, maybe if Brad would contact AOC and ask them if they would send someone down to talk to us about it. I mean, you sort of got to put the ball in their court and let them. Once they understand it, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. But you got to find the person up here that's going to let it go and say, "Oh, well, that makes sense. We can do that." But and we're hitting a wall somewhere, and I mean that's the only thing I can think of is let's ask them for a meeting and see if they'll send somebody down and tell us why and whatever. It doesn't make sense, but a lot of what ALC does doesn't make sense. And
Well, but was I trying to simplify that too much, or
no, you're not.
Will do.
Thank you.
I will try to arrange such a meeting. Thank you very much. I guess we need a motion to accept the
So
detention
moved.
center reports.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You also have in your packets the sheriff's monthly reports. Any questions about those? Mr. Crafton is here in case there is a question. If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept those.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Again, any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? County Clerk Renise Abner is with us if she wants to give a quick update.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Abigail. Congratulations to you. Did I see you at the DAR program here? Did you come in and do the Constitution? I thought that was you. Y'all did a great job. All you Gators did a wonderful job with that. So congratulations on that, and congratulations on your honor today. Very, very nice. For the month of September 2019, I'm submitting $93,185.76 in excess fees, and making the total amount remitted to the county for September $123,241.79. I also have a quarterly report. Excess fees for this quarter are $277,801.97, and for a quarterly total submitted of $399,545.91. A monthly comparison to September of 2018 shows that we have submitted $7,100 more this September than last. A quarterly comparison shows that we submitted $52,000 less this quarter than 2018, and that has to do with delinquent taxes, a decrease in the amount that we've collected. So,
Make a motion to approve.
A motion and a second. Any other questions of Renisa? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One more question. We will not meet again before Election Day, and I assume everything is ready to go.
everything's ready to go. We have a school actually today at 2 o'clock. Then we have another one next week. And so, yeah, we're going strong. We're
using the first
using
election with our new system.
Yes, we actually are using them for absentee voting as we speak downstairs. So, and everybody that comes in loves it. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay. Good luck,
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gold. Your payments.
Judge, I've got several checks today. First, a reimbursement from the federal government for the child support grant, salaries, FICA, and retirement for county budget employees, $1,801.39. Percentage of utilities, internet, and cleaning, $489. Excuse me. 480. Much better. 489.
Didn't work, Steve.
There's a frog in here somewhere. Sorry, everybody. Supplement to an assistant county attorney's salary from the city, $458.33. Dental and life insurance for county attorney budget employees, $469.82. Health insurance, $8,737.
You want me to help you?
HRA, $7,500. Aflac, $124.94. Interest, $33.42. Total remitted to the county today, $19,613.90, bringing the fiscal year total to date $74,182.53. Can't believe it was so hard to get through all that, Abigail. Could you hand this almost $20,000 to the judge, please?
All right. Make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second, and Abigail has delivered the money to me. Thank goodness. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Treasurer Brenda Ryder, please.
This is the second reading of a budget amendment amending into the current year budget for the road fund, $495,000 in receipts as prior year carryover, and the expenditures, rock material, $400,000, and road debt service, $95,000.
And again, part of this is necessary due to spending on
The rock material for the FEMA reimbursable flood repairs.
right flood repairs, and obviously we hope to recoup all that $400,000, but we have to pay it first. This is one of the ways to get it done, in addition to the road debt service. So, any other reminder questions about why we're doing this?
Move to approve.
Yes.
Do you need to read the ordinance? Let's read the ordinance real quick.
An ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof, whereas the County of Henderson has unrealized budget receipts from prior year carryover road fund to meet additional appropriations required for rock maintenance, FEMA reimbursable flood repairs, and road debt service to grade all monthly lease payments from October 2019 to June 2020. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, Commonwealth of Kentucky, the budget for fiscal year 2019-2020 is amended to decrease the receipts of the prior year carryover road fund by $495,000 to include unbudgeted receipts from account code 02-4901, which is prior year carryover, by $495,000, and decrease expenditure account by account code 02-6105-409, rock materials by $400,000, and account 02-6105-602, road debt service by $95,000. The amounts suggested in the receipt and expenditure accounts in Section 1 are for governmental purposes.
Now we can entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
You have fund transfers as presented. The first two, this is redistributing appropriations within the existing year budget. The first two are to cover underestimated budgeting appropriations. The third is in the jail fund, which is to redistribute an appropriation amount to correct a October 7, 2019 deposit error. The last is in the grants fund, and this is to transfer the budgeted revenue and appropriation lines which were originally budgeted for the CBDG grant, the Hanson Aluminum, and this is to reclassify these as the Ohio Drive project.
A couple explanations there. On the occupational tax transfer, if you remember me saying that, we're going to have some bumps in the road as we geared up collecting the tax ourselves. One of the things we under-budgeted on was supplies, because we are mailing out to all the businesses on our records bills and forms, and we underestimated postage and letterhead for those things, and it's actually quite a bit of postage and letterhead, so we are catching up, and we'll make that adjustment in next year's budget, give him a little bit more money for that. That's what that's all about. In the grants fund, Mr. Hubiak had written in line items for Ohio Drive-related rock, Ohio Drive-related asphalt, but there were some other expenditures, most notably recently a bill from the city for the removal of their natural gas lines, and that was expected part of the expense of this project. But we didn't have a line item out of which to pay that was appropriately titled. It wasn't asphalt, it wasn't rock materials, so we are making an adjustment in the grants fund line items, creating an Ohio Drive project line item, and moving money that's already in the budget that was going to be directed towards Hanson's Aluminum CDBG grant. But as you may or may not know, Hanson's Aluminum decided to not take that $1 million grant this year. They may in the future. So we had in our budget room financially to be able to just transfer that amount of money that was originally reserved for Hanson Aluminum in the budget and put it in this Ohio Drive project line item out of which to spend funds. Now, it's not going to be $1 million, but it is just a convenient figure to put in there because we already had that figure budgeted. And as Brenda reminded me, as long as we don't change the bottom line number on any of our funds, we do not have to amend the budget formally with 2 readings. And so we were able to do this within the grant fund, move it from a CDBG grant to our Ohio Drive project line item that we've made, and just vote on it as a transfer.
Actually reclassifying appropriation and revenue lines within the existing budget.
Within the existing budget. So does that make sense? So we now have a correctly titled appropriation line out of which to spend these other monies on Ohio Drive not related to asphalt or rock. And there will be some more. But it's all part of the budgeted amount for Ohio Drive. So can I get a motion to approve the transfers?
So move.
Motion and a second. Any other questions about any of these? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
These are the bank balances after paying claims today. The day-to-day appropriation line item should be at approximately 33%. I do have additional claims in the general fund to Walmart in the amount of $567.63. This is to come from appropriation lines of employee assistance program supplies, custodial supplies, and judicial center supplies. Also from the general fund to Moit Carpets in the amount of $12,907.12. What this is approximately half of the expense for the carpet and installation for the records room, the clerk's area, and the judge's office area. From the road fund to J. Bezo Enterprises Incorporated in the amount of $25,590. This is for 2 heaters, an installation for the recycling, and this is to come from the recycling building repairs and maintenance line, which this has been budgeted for. In the general fund, from the road fund to the general fund in the amount of $1,722.70. This is to come from the miscellaneous appropriation line of the general fund to correct a October 7, 2019 deposit error. From the grants fund to the city of Henderson in the amount of $77,897.68. This is for the invoice for the Hall Drive natural gas relocation line. Also from the grants fund to Moit's Construction Supply in the amount of $1,106.70. This is for a composting grant expense which has been budgeted for.
Any other questions on claims?
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? A couple notes. If you notice in the general financial report through today's date, I think you said that the appropriate percentages were 33%.
Should be at 33%.
All the funds are under that, under budget for that and expenses, which is good. In our general fund revenue, without any real property taxes coming in, that'll happen this month, is already at 25% of expected revenue, so which is really good considering real property has not come in yet. So we're on track. I would say we're better than budget so far, and that's good news. And thanks to all the department heads and elected officials for helping keep close track of that. And one more thing for the court's interest: if you notice on your bank balances sheet, the document that Brendan handed out, if you go the bottom half of that sheet in the second page are is the condition of our 911 bond that we issued in 2015 to help with the 911 upgrade project. And you'll see that the current balance right now is $1,650,128 out of an initial bond amount of $3,568,333. And just got word, I asked Robert Gunter and Buzzy Newman from the city to give us an estimate on the final payment the county's going to have towards that project. They're very close to wrapping it up. I know they've been saying that for a while, but they truly believe they're close to wrapping it up. And the estimated final payout to both Motorola and some remaining vendors for the county is $331,699, which is going to leave us approximately $1.3 million left, which we will be able to help roll back against the cost of the bond, to pay back towards the bond. And I think it puts us in a position, if we choose to later this year, to perhaps go ahead and defease that entirely, that bond, and eliminate it from that debt from our budget. Just a thought, we're really going to have a good jump start on getting that bond paid off with unused money from the original bond. So you're looking at me like I'm
no.
like you were about to say something else.
You do have to remember that this may not be a refundable bond. The actuaries will have to determine whether this can be defeased at this point in time.
Hopefully they'll say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Just in general information out there. I wanted you to know. Thank you, Ms. Ryder. Okay, at this time we open it up. Anybody from the audience who'd like to speak for good of the county, you're welcome to come to the microphone and address the court. Anybody? Okay, Master Southard.
Well, first off, I'd like to congratulate you, Abigail. That's something really special. It's you could be proud, and I'm sure your parents are proud, and grandparents, and you're leading the way for your school. That's a big accomplishment. Congratulations. And all's good in District 3.
Thank you, Magistrate Moran.
I too would like to congratulate Abigail, and I'm excited to go out to lunch today with her. It's always good. And it's good in District 2, and encourage everybody to go to the Burgoo on November the 2nd at Zion Volunteer Fire Department.
Magistrate Putman.
Thank you, Judge. Well, Abigail, I've seen you before, too, because I was here at the Constitutional Day. Good job. Renisa hit on it, so I knew. I was thinking, yeah, and I've seen your parents, too, I believe, yeah. So I know you're terribly proud of her, and you should be, and I did meet the grandparents, and they were ecstatic. I see them, they could actually use a phone, I still struggle with trying to take pictures and stuff with the phone. But anyway, Abigail, keep up the good work. Probably a bright future in front of you. You got the work ethic. Congratulations again. And Judge, all is good in the fourth.
Master McCollum.
Abigail, once again, thank you and congratulations. The only thing I would like to bring up is that I understood that the auditors have had a question about a raise that has been made, like in May, and I'm not picking on anybody, I'm not trying to cause any problems, but we brought this up before. Mr. Gold has been very meticulous on how he handles his office and what he does for hiring employees and and I don't think we're getting that from everybody else. And I think we need to take note. If you got a question, go ask the auditors. You can't be given a raise without the approval of the fiscal court. We've done it the last 10, 12 years. It's been done over and over and over again. And I just can't allow my position as a magistrate to be upshirt or taken over or ignored. And then we come back and we approve it after the fact without even knowing we approve it. Whenever we take care of the budgets and the rehires, when we do it in January and we do it again in May. And that's not the way to do things. It needs to come to court and it needs to be approved. And part of our budgeting process, not here, Brad's done a super job since he's been in office, and I'm really pleased to be a member of this court. But what's happened in the past, the magistrates didn't realize that these raises were coming in like May. When the offices had money left in their budgets, they were giving their employees, especially the ones they liked the best, additional funds. But then what happens and you do the budget in June, they've just done a small window of time for the budget for 2 months. Then you've got to come up with the money for the other 10 months plus the 2 months when you raise your budget the next time. And that happened over and over and over again, and the magistrates didn't seem to understand why their budgets were keeping going up and our revenues were not coming up as fast enough to meet it. And that's when we got into financial problems. And that's our job, to manage this and to oversee it. And I'm not saying I'm against anybody getting a raise if they deserve it, if there's a reason for it, but it needs to become and explained to the fiscal court. And so I know we have a problem with hiring people. We have no power when we're not in court. The only time the fiscal court members have power is when Brad Snyder's our administrator. If there is people to be hired, things to be done, that needs to come to him. People don't need to be going around him and contacting Frankfurt on issues that have to do with this fiscal court. They need to come through Brad Snyder and let him do that contact. That's his job. He's the administrator for the county. All else is good in the fifth. Thank you.
We will work on making sure we do that correctly. And all the department heads do that correctly. Master Berry.
I forgot what I was going to say. After that, Abigail, there's a lot of congratulations here. I always get to go last, so I could just say, what everybody else said, I suppose. But obviously, you're a hard worker. Parent, she's a hard worker. Congratulations to you for having such a hard-working young lady. She's going to do well. All's good in the first. Thank you.
Mr. Gold?
I'll try to get through this without losing my voice at some point. Abigail, again, congratulations. I know everybody said it, but we're all really proud of you, and we know you've got a great family that supports you, and that's a big, important part of it. So the important thing is, today is your day. It's named after you. So when you get back to school, you better let them know, this is Abigail Day. And have you decided where you're going to lunch yet? Where are you going? Oh, they have great cake there, right? And great desserts. Get a double helping. But today is your day. You can do that today. But congratulations, Judge. In the county attorney's office, things are good. We are, back up to full staff, and things seem to be going well. New employees hitting the ground running, and things seem to be hitting on all cylinders. I know many of the magistrates and some of the other department heads are going to be going to the CAECO conference this week. I'm not going to be able to go, still kind of digging out from fall break, but when you're in those sessions and you learn about some wonderful new thing that we need to implement here, if there is anything that the county attorney's office can do to assist in that, please feel free to let us know, and we're glad to help anytime we can.
Thank you, Mr. Gold. Abigail, I've known your parents for some time, and I not only do you have a terrific daughter, who is obviously a stellar student, terrific musician, correct? But you also have a great family, so that's fantastic too. But Mr. Gold's right. When you get back to Bengate, don't be afraid to brag a little bit. You might walk around with the proclamation, just showing it off in case you just want to hold it over your head, hanging in the classroom for a while. But congratulations, it is a big deal, and we're very proud of you. And good luck. Come back and visit, and great things are ahead for you. So, I do want to follow up on what Master McCullum said. We always are trying to do things correctly and make sure that we understand where our money's going, where our employee situation sits, where our salary situation sits, and we still have a lot of communication to do with all the departments to make sure they do it correctly. And it's much better than it was, I'll tell you that. And but we'll continue to work on that. And you're right, all those things should be under the purview of fiscal court because that's what the law says. And that's what the state auditor's office requires. So, thinking of November 2nd, I encourage everybody to go to Zion and get burger in the morning and then come to Dia de los Muertos right here in Central Park that evening, 4 to 7. It's a new event on our community's calendar of events, and it should be a really good addition, I think. It is both a cultural kind of event, a fun festivity that you might not have ever seen before. It's also a purposeful outreach to our Hispanic community here, and that is significant because we have a growing number of Hispanic and Latino families who live here now. They are Henderson Countyans. They're not going anywhere. They have lives here. Their kids go to school here. They have really good jobs here, and they are a significant part of our workforce. And our workforce is something we think about constantly because of the challenges there. And let me tell you, if every Hispanic family who lived here moved tomorrow, 24 businesses here would close immediately. And that is not an exaggeration. So because that is true, that's just one reason why we need to embrace them and offer respect to both the fact that they're here and their heritage. And so this is yet another way to do that, I think. And one thing that has struck me is that even though there are over 1,200 Latino residents of Henderson County, they're not as prevalent in our community as you might think. You don't see them. You don't see them downtown much, out just shopping like the rest of us do. There's still a bit of a divide there. And that can be cultural. It's language, obviously, in some cases, too. So this event is, again, just a chance to build a bridge and welcome them in as true Henderson Countyans. Because I know I'm not from here, and I've been welcomed with open arms. So we hope to extend the same to them. So if there's not anything else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor can leave on Abigail White Day.